You have Richard Branson laughing in the face of anybody who disagrees with this. You have Sting. I saw an interview with Trudy and Sting, and I really love them. But, he said he thinks people who don't accept this are crazy. Well, he'll have to confront his old tennis teacher. I used to teach him tennis years ago, and I'm definitely not crazy. In fact, I've spent quite a bit of time with this. I'm an environmentalist, and I'm perfectly okay to see clearly with this, ask the questions, put the pieces together, and look. But it's very, very disconcerting to see this. And this is part of the dynamic of the peer pressure to go along and get along, and not to stand outside of the dogma that's being imposed on people around the world. And the conversation that one can have regarding this subject is already preloaded architecturally with inferences, elements. You're not an environmentalist. You hate the environment. All those things, like you being accused of being funded by big oil. This is all preloaded dialogue that seeps into the public mind whenever people go in, roll up their sleeves, look, and start to see what's really there. I just really appreciate you sharing your story and coming on It's Rainmaking Time. Talk a little bit about applied climate and what you're doing today.
Sure. I retired from Oregon State University 2 years ago. 3 years ago. Let me back up a little bit. 3 years ago, I was in a more or less a debate with the fellow from Washington, who at that time was the Washington State climatologist. His name is Phil Mote, and we gave our viewpoints on climate. And Phil believes and is a member of the IPCC, so he believes what the IPCC says, and that is that CO2 and other human activities are significantly influencing climate, and if we can control CO2, we can control climate. He believes that. And so we gave our viewpoints, and we're very respectful. We like each other. It was certainly not ugly or anything, but we have very different viewpoints, and we kind of agree to disagree. Well, the governor of my state, his name is Ted Kulingoski, got wind of this and immediately said, George Taylor is not my climatologist, and I didn't appoint him, and I don't recognize him, and we really need to find somebody here who represents Oregon climate policy. Now, to my knowledge, Oregon didn't have a climate policy, but the governor did, and so he felt that I was detrimental to that, and he backed away from that, and I didn't get fired. But over the next year, my bosses at Oregon State University were, let's just say, less than supportive, and the whole issue had been so divisive for so long, and I was so tired of it that I decided just to walk away from my job. So I retired early in 2008, started my own little company, Applied Climate Services, and I do stay involved in this climate change issue, mostly through public talks that I give. But my specialty is really extreme weather events, extreme precipitation for things like dam safety and extreme stream flows, floods, and so on that I do for civil engineering purposes, as well as work in lawsuit situations, and then I'm involved in other ways in court cases as an expert witness on weather-related lawsuits and damage claims and so on. So I'm not as closely tied into climate day to day, and in many ways, I'm kind of glad to be away from the hot seat. I'm certainly glad not to be a public servant anymore, because now I can say whatever I want to say. I can be on your show and express my opinion exactly as it is without any caveats to say, my viewpoint does not represent the state of Oregon nor Oregon State University, so, you don't have to listen to what I say, which is kind of what I had to say before. Now I can just say what I really believe and not worry about it. And I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
George Taylor, I really want to thank you for being a guest on my show. It's Rainmaking Time. We really appreciate you coming here and helping educate the public on how to look at this whole world of climatology and explaining some distinctions within that for us. And I want to invite you back with others at a later date. And thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Kim. It was good talking to you today.
it's rainmaking time.